if I go in the store and I want to do something, say I want to do this teal, and I look at the bottom of the bottle, and I'm going to be using it as teal, I go over to the regular paint section and the regular acrylics, and I buy me another bottle of paint that will match as near as I can to that color of metallic. And that way you can use it as the true color that it is. You would put the solid paint on first on whatever you're painting, and then put the metallic over top of it, and you will get that color. If you have this purple and you choose a purple in a regular paint, this lavender or whatever it is, it will come out the same, about the same color as what's in this bottle. If you just paint the metallics on over something, they don't cover good, okay? Or I mix them with black. I like to mix my paints with black, and that makes a whole different color. Then you come back in with your light colored waxes and use your waxes to do all your colors with. Hi, Kathy. To do your color and your accents with. So tonight, to start with, I'm going to use this lavender color, and I'm going to mix it with some black. Now I'm going to turn you over just a little bit here so you can see my palette. See, this is my palette right here. And I'm going to put some paint, put some of this paint out. I use a wet palette, girls. It stays wet all day. It's got a sponge under it. If you haven't seen it before, it's got a sponge under it. Dirty sponge, but it's there. You wet that sponge, and then you put your paper on top of it, which is just a hot dog hamburger wrapper. Paper is what I use. And then it keeps your paints. I can put my paint out there this morning and it's still wet tonight. Sometimes it's still wet the next day. So, hey Donna. So I'm going to put some of this out, put some of this lavender out, and I don't like it. You have to pour it out of the bottle. I don't like that. But I'm going to put some over here. I'm going to try to get enough. This pumpkin may need two coats on it. So usually if you mix paint and you mix it all then that you need, you know, you mix the first little bit and it's not enough, and you leave it on there and you mix some more with it, you usually can match it pretty good. Or your second coat, if it's a little bit off, it won't matter. Hey Sandy. So I'm going to take my black, put me out some black up here on my palette. And I'm going to take my palette knife, and I'm going to mix this black into this purple a little bit at a time until I achieve a color that I like. Never, when you paint two pumpkins, when you paint one next week and do this, you probably won't get the same color. And a lot of times, yeah, Hobby Lobby has the wet palettes. I think mine is a Masterson, so I'm not sure what they are. The only thing is that when I teach like this, people say, what color did you use on that pumpkin? I don't remember half the time. I know if I'm, you know, certain colors, or if I'm using the teal, there's so many of the colors that's just alike. This one's teal, and this one's called desert turquoise. See how much general they look alike? So when somebody asks me what you use on there, I can't always tell you. And I know that sounds rude. They'll say, what did you use on that pumpkin? And I'll say, I don't remember, which sounds rude, but I really don't remember. I would have to write that down, and, you know, to remember each piece that I do, because it doesn't really matter to me. I know I'm going to get something near to that, and I don't need them to be exactly alike. Okay? Now, I'm going to take this black, put me a little bit of black on there, and mix it over in that lavender. It's going to turn a little silvery color, and I'm just going to keep adding black to it until I get the color that I like. My husband, hey Joe, girls, I got to hold on just a minute. My husband's having a fit over here, in here. I'll be right back. We can hear you online shouting. Tell him to be a little quiet in there.
Pablo thinks Maddie is you.
I know he does. Just do the best you can, okay? And don't holler. We can hear you. Okay? My husband's been real confused today, girls, and he's waited all day. He thinks I'm taking him somewhere. And all day long he's asking, when are we leaving? When are we leaving? So he tried to get out of the house earlier today. So it's been a rough day. So they're in there trying to make him understand we're not going anywhere tonight. Okay? Sorry about that, but that life happens. You know, and that's my life right now. Okay? I'm still mixing my black in here. My workroom here is off of I built in part of my front porch in my dining room. I left the window here and it goes into my dining room. So a lot of times you can hear what's going on in the house. Sometimes I'm sure you can hear them shouting in there. Okay, I've put black in it 3 or 4 times. See here, I'm going in and I'm just mixing that up. Now I'm going to put some of it over on my pumpkin and see what it looks like. He thinks Maddie is me, so. Okay, I'm going to take me just a brush here. Won't matter whether I get it on this stem or not, because I'll probably paint that stem gold, and it'll be, you know, it'll go over top of anything, the gold will. Okay, thank you, girls. I know you understand. I appreciate that. Okay, we're going to go in here, and everything's going to get this same color paint. So I'm going to go right in here, and I like that. So I'm going to use my brush, kind of rough on the brush, because you got to get down in all those little spots in there. This takes a little bit of time to get down in there. See, you barely can see, but you can't, it's hard for you to see what that color is. And when we get it all on there and then get the waxes and stuff on it, it changes it all completely. And like I told you yesterday and before, I'm partial to the dark colors. If you wanted to put a lighter color on this, you know, you could do the same thing with pinks or whatever, you know, or even orange or whatever you want to put on it. You could do the same thing. I'm just partial to darker shades. You just have to work your way around, pushing your brush down in all them little holes, because we don't want none of that white to show through. It might cover good with just one coat. After we get it on, we'll see. The leaves and stuff, we're going to go back and put waxes and the things all over, so it won't, you know, part of it's going to get covered anyway. But we do need to make sure there's no white spots shining on there. Because if you get everything covered and then you have a few little white spots, they'll stick out like a sore thumb. And the first coat is just to get it covered, so I'm not really paying a whole lot of attention to, just so I get it all covered. Get right up under some of these leaves, right up under the edges. See, as we go around, now you can see a little bit of what that kind of looks like, a silvery shade. And yeah, this pumpkin's from Hobby Lobby. All that I'm using tonight, I think I've got one that's from TJ Maxx, and all the rest of them were from Hobby Lobby. But now my Hobby Lobby, of course, we live here where the tourists are at, and our Hobby Lobby gets cleaned out real quick. Because so many people come to town, you know, vacation and all, they always make a trip to Hobby Lobby. So they clean our stuff out, it goes fast. Sometimes when I get real desperate for something, I'll drive to the Hobby Lobby over in Knoxville, because I can go over there usually and find anything I need, where here they sell out quick. So the pumpkins with any design and stuff to them are just about gone in our store for this season. And people are buying the Christmas stuff. I was in there this past week, and everybody was buying Christmas, and you know, it's all year round now. They should just stock everything all year round. Of course, if you're a crafter, or if you're, you know, if you're selling, you have to be like Walmart and everything else. You've got to stay a season ahead of the shopping, or you'll be behind. I start selling Halloween stuff in July. I like these little pumpkins. I've done, gosh, I don't know how many I've done. Over hundreds. I've done a ton of this one with the thing. I love the way this stem is on it. When you buy this one, it's gray, kind of a silvery gray color. Not pretty at all. See? Emma, I'd love to have another auction, but I can't do it right now. So it's just kind of a wait and see. It's, you know, when I can, I will, but I can't do it with Daryl like he is. Because you can hear him all over the house when he's, you know. See, it's hard to get down in some of them spots. I may have to go to a smaller brush to get down into some of the spots. Yeah, I might have to get me a smaller brush to go down in behind that, get in behind that stem. Wish Hobby Lobby still had the. I do too, Brenda. But I did buy. You know, I'm bad to. Well, it's bad and it's good. When I find something I really, really like, I always done that with napkins. If I find a napkin that I really fall in love with, I go ahead and buy 75 or 100 of them. And I did that with my paper for my printer, and now that paper's been discontinued. We can't find it nowhere, and I sit and worry about what's going to happen when I run out. But I've still got probably 30 packages, because I bought probably 100 packages of that thing at 100 in a package, you know, so I bought a ton of them. Every few weeks I would order a dozen or 15 or 20 packs, and I got it stored up, but now I'm going to run out, and that breaks my heart. And I did that with these pumpkins. So last year, I've still got a whole box, big box of them that's not painted. Last year they had them left over at the end of the season, which is unusual. They don't usually do that with this one. It usually sells out. So I bought about 30 or 40 of them because they went down to, you know, like 70% off, and I jumped on them. This one will have to have 2 coats, I think. So we'll put one coat on, and then we'll jump right over to another one, and we'll paint them back and forth, because when we start putting the waxes on them, we can put them all on at the same time. Just work them back and forth with the waxes. We just have to get the colors on there. And I'm getting it all over my hands. Okay, I'm down to the bottom just about. And I need to paint that bottom, but so since I'm going to set it down, I'll do that later. And when all else fails, I just paint them black. I paint something, you know, if I miss the back of something or what else, and then it's too late after I've done it, I just go back in and paint it black. Okay. Yeah, I've got that coat on there. See, now you can see a little bit of what the paint is. So I've got little places down in there behind that, right down in that hole there, that I'm going to have to get a small brush to get down in there. Let's try this one, see if that's going to go. Okay. Now I've got to go right down here and fill in these spots. This is the hardest one to paint. Okay, I've got one coat on that one now. I think I've got it covered all the way around. And I'm going to go in and mix me another color for the next one. Because this one's the hardest one to paint. The rest of them don't have that handle on them like that. Okay, so I'm just going to set that one over there to dry. Wash my brushes. Where did I... Where do you get a roll from? What's a roll, Wanda? My sister. What? I missed what you said, Wanda. A roll. Cutting the rice paper sheets from a roll. Oh, okay. Yes. When we first bought that rice paper, I bought it a couple of rolls, and I do have those, but I didn't like that. And I bought it at the same time I was buying the packages. You could get it in the packages. Amazon had it then, and you could get it in the packages, or you could get it on a roll. And I've got a couple of rolls left. But to use that roll, you have to unroll it and take an iron or something and press it before you can cut it to fit in your printer. Because your printer's not designed to take a roll of paper, and so you have to cut it to fit your printer sheets. And that roll comes out when you unroll it. Naturally, it's going to be, it's going to roll right back up on you. So when you have something like that, you've got to put it on your counter somewhere and put a towel or a dish towel, or you can use not wax paper, parchment paper, over top of it, and just take your iron, your iron like you iron clothes with, on a low setting and press it, and it'll press that paper down for you. That's a pain in the butt to do. Now I'm going to do this big one, and I think I'm going to do it with the teal. So I'm going to put some teal out here. This one's just about empty, so I'm going to get another one. And I'm going to do the same thing with the teal. I'm going to take my teal and put some black in it. Okay, just about finished that bottle. This is a big one, so I put out quite a bit there. I'm going to take my black and put right over in that teal. I like to mix the blacks with these better than I do the, sometimes now, like I said, if I want to use it as the color teal, then I use it otherwise. But I just like the way the waxes fits on these and the way they work with the black in them. And you can take any of your colors and mix them, even the pink. But now when you mix the lighter shades, you'll get a different, totally different. I think pink, when I mix the pink with some black, I believe I get like a silver. Can't remember that. And then I may just paint it. I've got one pumpkin I did with the pinks, and then I stippled the glimmer, shimmer glaze. I stippled that shimmer glaze over top of it. Okay, now I'm ready to go in with this one on the teal. I mix the teal and the black. Paint everything I can with the big brush, and then I'll have to go down to a smaller brush to get into some of the little spots. They're not hard to do, they're just time consuming, because you got to put 2 coats on just about, and then time you work. So you're better off to work on, I always work on multiple items at the same time unless I'm teaching, because it's a waste of time to work on one item, and especially if you're selling and you want to get paid for your time and you're spending all that time on one item, finish one when you could finish 3 at the same time. Then you have less money, less time in it, you sell it for less money. So you make better money on it. And while one thing's drying, I can do another one, rather than sit there and spend my time to dry it. I like the teal. This is one of my favorite colors. See, this one you can see. See how pretty that is? You can see that one. And I like it. I've used this on lots of things, boxes and just lots of things I've used the teal on. And that teal is it's a Deco Art teal, metallic. And you can find it also in the regular paint. You find teal in the regular paint too. And it's labeled the same color. Now, since we're going to put other colors on the leaves and the acorns and stuff, we may not have to put a second coat of this blue, this teal, on those, because we're going to change the colors of them. We might put some green on those leaves and then go in with the waxes. So you can change your colors. If you're going to change your color completely on that particular thing, then you won't need but one coat on there. See, this one's hard to get down in them little holes. Would be better if you could spray this on, but you can't spray this color on. We was talking about Tammy yesterday. Tammy, y'all, she sprays, she and I've chatted a lot. She sprays almost all of her Formflex when she paints it. You know, most of the time she sprays it before she puts it on. It's a lot easier to go out and spray a whole bunch of things at one time white than it is to, you know, put each piece on and then have to paint it white. And she spray paints. So if you're making pre-made molds, pre-done the Formflex or whatever you're using, and you want to paint them white, you can just spray them. And then you've got them all done and ready to start using them. The resin, what I make out of resin now, you can spray paint those. Thanks for sprinkling, girls. If I miss your comments, you know I'm not much for, I can't hardly talk and do the comments too. I mean paint, so I miss them as they roll by. Wanda most of the time can answer the questions for you, or one of the girls, and then I'll go back and read them when I'm done. I think there were most of you here last night with us when we put them on. You get real slap happy when you're doing this because you don't have to be careful with it. You just have to slap it on there. This is probably the biggest one I've done of these with the clay. I saw one today that was almost as big as this one. It went to New Mexico. We don't have no school again tomorrow. They done called it off. Here we have so many mountain areas here up in the mountains, and then where they have little creeks and streams and stuff, and they come out of the bank every time it rains. We get heavy rains, they get floods or blocks their roads and stuff. So if they can't get out, then the kids in the valley can't go to school either. Almost got it around there, and then I got to go back and get down in all those little. This one's got more little spots in it underneath there than the other one had. I have to go back with a smaller brush to get in them. I think these brushes came from Temu or Amazon One. I bought a whole like 2 dozen at one whack, and they were cheap. I'm hard on brushes. Awfully quiet. Wish you could talk to me. Yeah, I don't think I mixed enough for this one. I'm going to have to mix some more paint. But I'm going to go back in the first thing with the smaller brush and get all those little spots in there. So I get a smaller brush and go down in here because I got a lot of places that I can't get in with that brush. Schools were closed today for the storm. Shoo, Lord. Wait, what part of are you in, Sandy? See, that's a little bit. I'm going to have to go back in and put a little glue. Like I said, it's not dried good. That little stem right there on that little stem is not dried good. I'll leave that till tomorrow, and then I still may have to go back in there and put some glue under that. You just have to make sure everything is glued down and dried good. The weather has a lot to do with how they dry, the drying time too for the thing. I watched one lady on YouTube, and this week, I mean, she does some really pretty jars, and I like what she does. She's from another country. I can't remember the name of her thing. But anyway, I sent her a message and asked her if her clay was, you know, she was using it wet or dry, and I don't think she understood exactly there. I didn't word it right, or she didn't understand me one either, because she said, well, I work with it wet because I can shape it more, but I went back and told her I meant, did she paint it while it was wet? Because I don't know, I've never tried to paint it while it's wet, and I'm going to have to make a piece of something, small piece of something, and see if I can paint it, put the paint on while it's wet, because the drying time is what's aggravating when if you're trying to teach somebody how to do it and you got to wait 2 or 3 days, you know, for a project. So I would like to know. I'm going to have to try that, do something and paint it while it's wet and see what it does. Do any of you do that color? Yes, Barbara, this color's beautiful. It's just a beautiful shade of blue, and you know, the metallic, it stands out. I've used it a lot of things. I think I'm about to get the holes covered. Okay, let's see here. The hard part, once we get the painting on, the rest of it goes along easy and quick. Get the paint on there. A little piece up there. Okay, I believe I've got the white spots all covered. Make sure there's one. You turn it and then you see another one. And you got to get up under some of them. So you got to turn it in all directions and look as you go around, because they're very, very easy to miss one. And it's hard to go back tomorrow after you've mixed a different paint and paint them, so you have to really pay attention to where you're going. Okay, make my way around here and see. I believe I got them covered. Now see how pretty that is? Look at the shine on that. That is gorgeous. Now I'm going to go back to my big brush and finish going down my pumpkin. Hope I got enough paint, because I don't believe I do, for the top coat. When we put the second coat on, we won't have to go up on them leaves for a second coat. We just have to paint the pumpkin itself. Just set down. What I did when I was first started doing with metallics, I painted me a little piece of raw wood white, you know, just a junk piece of wood. I told Joe to bring me some scrap wood pieces out of the shop, and I painted them white, and then I would sit down with the metallics. When I had a few minutes, I'd mix a metallic and a color, or a black and metallic, and I would put them on there like samples. You know, used it for a sample, like a sample stick, paint stick. And that way I could see what it was going to look like, you know, what the colors was when I put them together. Because mixing them on your palette and looking at it on the palette there, it looks a lot darker than it does when I get it on this pumpkin. Color. If you go on Pinterest, girls, you can see tons of these. I posted a link on my page today of my Pinterest account. You can go on there. I get about 40,000, I think it is 40,000 views a day. Or, you know, I've got up to about that many people on there. And Pinterest is a search engine. You know, and you can find anything from that you want to do, any kind of recipe, you want to cook anything, and it's just so interesting, so fun. If you don't, you know, it's easily addictive. I'm not a TikTok watcher. I've never watched TikTok, but people say it's addictive. Well, Pinterest is like that too. Pinterest is addictive. I've never had a TikTok on, but I can spend hours on Pinterest. Now see, that's hard for me to get that down there and hold it. That's kind of heavy, and I need to get down the bottom, and when I set it down on its edge on the side, it sticks, so you got to be careful with that. It's a little heavy to hold. Just enough paint to get that on there. One coat on it. When I mix the second one, it won't matter if it's a little bit different. Okay? Okay, we've got one coat on it. See that, how pretty that is? Now that don't, it's all blotchy now, but when we get another coat on it. Now I'm going to set that one aside, wash my brush, and I'm going to do one more, this little one here. We're going to do this one in one more color. And I've got a blue here. Let's see, I've got a blue. Look, see what else I've got up here. If you make it a bronze, extreme shade. There's one I haven't used in metallics. Let's see what this rose gold. Let's see what that rose gold creates when we put a little black in that. This is Folk Art metallic called Rose Gold. So I'm going to see what we get. Never used it. Do I have a green? I do have a green. Let's see what this color is, and then we'll do. I've got a green. I've got 2 or 3 colors of green. That's real pretty. Well, that one is kind of, it's an odd color, but it's pretty. See what that does. I'll put a little more in it. Huh. It's kind of a tannish gray color. Okay, let me see here now. Okay, I've got a green here that is called Christmas green. And then I've got another one that is all-purpose metallics. It's Anita's. It's lime green. Let's see what else I got up here. I've got all kinds. I've got blue. I've got purple. There's a sparkling fuchsia. Got a fuchsia color. So here's a berry. Might try that berry and see what that is. See what we get when we mix that berry a little bit. What color? Black due to rose gold. Okay, it's kind of a, let me put a little bit on this pumpkin, see if I can show you here. The rose gold is kind of a, it's pretty. Can't tell a whole lot about it, but it's a pretty color. It's just one coat. Yeah. I don't know, I kind of like that. I kind of like it. Let's see what we get with this red. We might go with that rose gold. Wonder what that'd look like if we mix some of that and the rose gold together. See, if you just play with them and mix them, you can just mix them together. You don't. Okay, this leans more on the pink side. That kind of makes that, that's red. This is called berry, and it kind of takes it into the purple. Let's put that purple over here in this other one, see what we get. Like I said, when you're mixing colors, you're going to have to mix enough to do you, because you're not going to get the same color 2 times. Okay, that's kind of a pretty color. I'm going to put some more of that berry in that and use up that I had out there. Since I already had it out, no sense in wasting it. It leans more on the burgundy, toward the burgundy side, where this one leaned more to the gray. This one leans more to the burgundy. I'm going to have to put enough out there to get this whole pumpkin done. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with that one. Now let's see, I need a brush. Have to get me a... Why do you mix with black? Kathleen, I mix it with black because that's how I like it. No, like I said, it's just a quart. You can mix it with any color you want. Like I did just now, I mixed some of the rose gold and some of the pink, some of the rose gold and some of the berry together. So it's just your choice of mixing. But that little bit of black in there makes it opaque, makes it so that it's not transparent. You understand what I'm saying? It gives it something of a bite, because just the metallics, when you just put the metallic on, see, if I just pick up some of this berry metallic and I paint it on there, it doesn't do anything. You'd have to put 10 coats on there to make it show, and then you may not get it to show. See how light that is? That metallic in there. So you really have, they're so transparent that you need a color under them. Now some people will paint their project black first, then go in with that metallic over top of the black. You can do it that way too, and some people, do it a lot of times that way. So it's just your choice. As like I said, just sit down with your metallics and play with them. Just play with them and mix with colors until you get something that you like yourself. There's nothing says you have to do any particular thing. You just really need to mix something with them to make them show. Now, if you take a straight burgundy, if you paint this piece burgundy first and then you put that metallic over top of it, you're going to achieve another color. So they're just colors, they're paints that you just have to play with. They're very seldom used by themselves because of that. Because it takes so much of that to get it to show. You would be putting coats and coats and coats of paint. That's like years ago when I learned to paint. Back then we didn't have any red. There was hardly a red on the market that you could paint a red like a red Santa's hat or something that needed to be a true red. You couldn't get a true red. And it took a long time in the paint world before we got a true red. So usually we had to put a color under something. And usually it was something like a barn red or something was put on that piece first, and then we put the red over top of it to get a better red. Today we have better red paints, but then we didn't. And that's just the way the metallics are. You just about have to put something, now that's kind of in the purple family. So you have to put something under them or with them to make them opaque. Yeah, this one's kind of purpley. Now I could go back in after I've got this painted, I could go back in there with the straight teal and we would achieve a different color. And you could do that. You could then go back in with your teal over top of that, just the plain teal, and then it'll cover better because you've got a base coat there. They just don't have the metallics just don't have a lot of pigment, or I guess that's just the way they're made. They're so shiny and stuff that they don't have a lot of bite to them when you just use them by themselves. And most of the time I don't like them until I get the waxes and stuff on them. I like to mix the waxes and things with them to achieve a whole different look, And you'll never get two of them to be the same because every time you put the waxes on, they're different. You put them on different spots or different colors. They're all different too. Now this is kind of a cross between the burgundy and purple. I can see some of the, the burgundy showing through there, and I can see some purple showing through there. Okay, I'm going to have to go to a small brush to get back in the tight spots. I can hear my kids in there arguing at each other. Or they're worse than Daryl. Wanda, I don't do custom orders, honey. No, I don't. I like to do things. Years ago I did that, but it's just, you know, it's hard to do custom things. Now I'll take that back. I do custom orders for some people because I have customers at home, friends of mine and people that I grew up with and, you know, at home, and I've painted for them, painted things for them for years, like the Mackenzie Childs, the checks and stuff, you know, or Victorian, and they'll call me and say, will you make me this or make me that? And I know what they like. You know, I know their style and what they like. And I will do something in those circumstances, but just to take an order and do something, I don't like to do that anymore. It's, you want to, you know, you always have a kind of a fear of somebody not being pleased with what, and I don't want somebody to buy something they've not be pleased with, so I'd rather you see it before I make it. And then if you buy it, you're buying it because you like it, not because you had it ordered and have to. I do have people contact me and ask me, I've got this tea set and that, would you paint it and all, but I just don't do that. Especially if it's family heirlooms, you know, they'll say, I've got this, it belonged to my grandma, and I won't touch that, because if I would damage it, that would break my heart, and theirs too, so. Is that rose gold and black? Elwanda, it is rose gold. It is the rose gold and the berry, these two, and some black. And I just played back and forth with them till I got the color that I have. There's no way that you're going to achieve the same exact color that I have because of the way we mix them. So you have to just play with the metallics until you get the color that you like. I can go back when somebody says, I like that pumpkin and will you paint me one? I can get as near as possible to that, but I can't say that it would be exactly the same. Because just like I did just now, I mixed two colors together. I won't remember that a week from now. A week from now and somebody asks me what color's on that pumpkin, I can't always tell you because I'm painting so many and, you know, and do them every day till I don't never remember what's on any particular one. I can tell you about if it's the teal or, you know, something, but if I mix more than one paint, then I don't, that's hard to do, hard to remember what you put on there. I like this color though. I just keep mixing till I like something. So I like every one I do because I don't quit mixing and adding to it and take, you know, adding more different stuff until I achieve something that I want to use. Okay. Okay, now I got to go down to the smaller brush a minute and get down in these spots here. Then we go back to the first one and do the thing. Now we'll get to the good stuff when we get to where it looks good, and then we can do the waxes on it. Black enamel. No, it's not enamel. I don't use any enamel. It's all acrylics. I don't think I've ever painted with enamels. A lot of people use enamels for glass and stuff, but I don't think I've ever painted with enamel paints. When I first started painting, I painted with oils for 4 or 5 years before I ever switched over to acrylics. Okay, just about to get it. The stems will probably all get gold, so I'm not going to worry about getting paint on them because that liquid gold covers anything. You can always use it to cover anything up if you want it to be gold. And you put it on the very last thing. Okay, I've got that one on there. Now I'm going to set that one over here. Oh, got a spot or two there. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to A number 1. Now see, it looks a lot silver now that it's dry, but it'll get a whole different change when I go back and put these colors. I got to wash that brush because when I put to change the colors on it, it'll get a whole different because it'll be my second coat on there. See if I got another brush here so I don't have to do that. Now we're going to go right back in with this silvery shade. And we're not going to worry about the leaves so much because I don't think we'll need any more colors on the leaves. We're just going to put a coat down here on the pumpkin. See, now that's kind of a silvery color. See, now those 3 have the second coat on them. Now as I go around, see the difference right there? The difference in this one and this one over here. That's my second coat. Now if you were doing these and just doing one, you'd need to dry these. Between the coats, you'd need to use your dryer and dry these things. Okay. These can go right on into, they're not just for Halloween, they're fall. So I thought when I done these I probably wouldn't do any more, but then I got to thinking today it's not, we got a long time before fall, so I probably will end up doing a few more. They're pretty without even any waxes and stuff on them. They're already really pretty, just like they are. And that one's, I've missed a spot. Uh-oh. See my clay come off. Uh-oh. I'm going to have to glue that one back on there. So I may have to glue it and let it set a while before I paint on it. But now see, you can see the difference in the color. See how pretty that color is now? Okay, I got to get me some glue here, girl, and glue this. Make sure I glue this other one down here because the clay, the stuff's come loose. Where's my glue? Here it is. Now I'll take me an old wore out brush. Get me a brush over here that's not very good. I keep all my old brushes and either give them to the kids, and I'll take that glue. Now I got to find out which one it was. Okay, it's that one. I'm going to take it loose here and put the glue back on it. Okay, slide it right back in there and hope that it dries enough for us to put the waxes and stuff on it. Okay, now see, I didn't put but one coat up on the top part. The leaves and stuff just have one coat on them, which is okay because I'm going to put the waxes and stuff all on them, and then I've got 2 coats on everything else. And that one turned out like the silver, and that was the, what did we use on that first one? I done forgot. Oh, we used that lavender. This was the lavender on the first one. Now when we get the waxes on it, it'll totally change the color some. I'm going to set it back here to dry too. And I'm going to go back in. Now this teal one, I'm going to have to mix some more paint because I'm going to fool around and have paint all over my face too. I don't have enough paint for this one. I think I've emptied that bottle. And I don't have to put any up on the leaves and things on this one. But I got to get another bottle of teal. Okay, that one is Desert Turquoise. See where to put it here. Okay, Pearl, come on now. I had another one here somewhere. Here it is. Don't lose your glue. You said it. Did I not? I don't even know what I done with my glue, with my, oh, there it is. It's white. You know what? I do that with the 6000. I catch myself, you know, not putting that, because it's got that little nib in it. And you can't, vintage to chic. Okay, it's vintage to chic .etsy. It's just a dot, not the word dot. Vintage to chic.etsy.com is my shop where I sell my finished things, girls. And my other shop is the design shop, but I've not worked with it much the last few months. I've not that since AI come out. There's so much out there, and I've had to kind of split my time, so I'm not done a lot with it. Okay, this is my teal one, and I'm going to go back in and put another coat on the bottom of this one. I've got 100 and some items in my Etsy shop. I've still got a lot of little stuff from the show. I'm going to let a friend of mine, she's, like I said, she's got a booth space in town, and I'm going to let her take a lot of that little stuff and sell it. Get rid of it. I need to clean it out. Oh, that is pretty. Now you can see really what the teal looks like. Between that, see the difference? That piece and the ones beside it, that's the 2 coats on there. So that's when you get your, when it starts to look pretty is when you get that second coat on there. When you really start to show the colors. Nose is itching. I hope to have some options. I thought about moving some stuff around in there and trying to do. I'll have to play it by ear and see. Before Christmas. Just to move some stuff out. These are so elegant looking. You know, that's what I like about them. They are so, see how pretty, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Now there's the first coat. And when we move right on around with the second one. Okay, so we're headed right on around. I just nicked the top of that one. I bring my brush strokes down too. I don't want to paint it crossways. I don't want my brushes to go across this way. You want your brushes. My nose is itching. You want your brush strokes, you know, to come down with your brushes and not go across, because you wouldn't want to see cross strokes in here. And you could go back and put bling on this one. You go back and in between every rib you could put you a row of bling, row of rhinestones or something, pearls or something down there. I've done them both ways. I can't hardly hold on to that. Company's coming when the nose is itching. I hope not. I hope not. People don't visit like they used to. You know, when we was home and years ago when our kids was growing up, yeah, people drop in all the time. We played cards every weekend, played cards with friends, and just, you know, people don't do that anymore like they used to. And families, our nieces and nephews all grew up together like brothers and sisters. Families get scattered out. Life gets busy, and you intend to do things, and then you're sorry you haven't done them. Okay, I almost got it around there. Get the purple one, and we'll have 2 coats on all of them. That one's kind of heavy and hard to hold on to. It makes my shoulder hurt. It is gorgeous. I put some pearls on this one. Okie dokie. Oh my goodness, look at that. That is beautiful. Look at that. I do too, Emma, miss them. We used to eat, our family, we used to have a big family, and we had cookouts. We'd go to the over to the river on the weekends and cook out. That is gorgeous, girls. Let's set that one over here. Okay, now I've got to get down to this purple one again. Wash my brush. My water's getting dirty. Hello, girls. If I haven't said hi to you, I'm sorry. Okay. Now, I see a couple of spots up here on the top of this one. I'm going to have to get down in a smaller spot there. Get me a little brush. Go right down in here, a little spot. Just be sure you look at the last thing. You look for all them little white spots that might be hid from you, because you'll always pop up another one. Take you a small brush and get right down in there and paint them, because when you get it all done and then them shows up, they stick out like a diamond. You know, like you're front and center. Okay, now let's go in this one with this purpley color. I think I'll go down to a smaller brush on this one. Not use such a wide brush. It's a pretty color too. Okay, see the difference? There's the two, and the second should coat of purple. Sometimes you may even need a third coat in some spots. I'm looking at this teal one over here. As it dries there on the edges, I'm seeing some spots that I'll probably go back and hit again with the third, because as it dries it changes a little. Rich is what they are, Sherry. That's exactly what their colors are, so rich and vibrant. That's exactly a good way to describe them. That's why I like them too, these dark rich shades. We're running a lot of time tonight. Ooh, that one's pretty too. Look, see how pretty that is? The thing is, if you don't want to spray these, don't want to varnish them, you're okay, because when you put the waxes and stuff on them, you really don't have to varnish over top of those waxes. And they're pretty with no varnish on them because the colors are so vibrant. This color is about like my shirt. Yeah. It is. The colors are so vibrant on them and bright that you really don't have to varnish them, but I do that for protection. I do spray them with a clear acrylic spray because they get the dust and stuff will come off of them. You know, people can't clean them. They can't wipe them and clean them if you've not put a top coat on them. So I do top coat them, but now they're pretty even if you don't, you know, like that. Okay, now I think what we'll do when we wax them, we're going to wax them all. It's going to be about the same. So what I'm going to do is make sure that I have one. We'll do this big one. I want to make sure that I have one and we get it done, and that way you'll be able to see, because the waxes will be all the same on all of them. Made all the molds. Yeah, if you're just catching us tonight, there's a number 1 we did last night. Does the clear spray run? No, not if you do it right, Sandy. When you spray that clear acrylic, I use Rust-Oleum's 2-in-1 clear acrylic spray, and you don't want to hold that up there and continue spraying it till it looks good. You don't ever try to do that. You want to mist it. Take it outside and just lightly mist it all the way around with the clear acrylic. Then set it down and leave it for 30 minutes or an hour, according to the weather. Leave it and let it dry, and do that 3 or 4 times over the next few hours, and then you'll have a real pretty finish on it. If you stand there and spray that spot until you make it look good to your eye, then it is going to run on you. It will run, just like the paint runs, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the few spots on this one that I feel like needs another coat, and then I'm going to spray it some, or blow it to make it dry. I'm going to dry it good, and then we'll go ahead and put the waxes and stuff, because the same way I do the waxes on this one is the same way I will do the waxes on the other. And that way you'll get one complete, because if I sit here and do them all with you, we're going to be here all night, and I don't want to do that to you. See, I'm just going back, and in some of the very few spots here, I feel like it needs a little bit more paint. Just kind of in the roundest parts there, the ones that stand up the highest. So I'm just taking my brush and putting a little bit more paint on a few little spots around through there, because I want it covered good. This teal is beautiful. I'll have these in my shop this weekend. Okay, now I think I've got all of it painted. Let me check up here for any spots that I've missed up here. Right there's one. I'll go back in tomorrow and paint the stems here. I'll paint them gold. So I'm not going to fool with them tonight because I can't hold on to it. So I'll paint them gold. Okay, I'm going to take my blow dryer now. I'm going to dry this one a little bit to make sure that it's good and dry. She does, no, most of the time I don't paint the bottoms of them. That's true, what Wanda says. But now if it's messy like this one, I will go back in. But if I don't paint it with that same color, I'll paint it black. But now most of the time I don't paint the bottoms of them. Some things I'll paint the bottom of. If it's a wood piece, I always paint the bottom. And if certain things, you always paint the bottom. But on a lot of the metal things, I don't paint the bottom of a silver plate or, you know, silver tray and stuff. So it's just, you know, have to judge on your own. If you want it to look good. Okay, now I'm going to use a rag here and my waxes. And I like these waxes by, they are put out by Finnabar, and they're tube waxes. It's called Art Alchemy, ALCHEMY, and I've got them in all different colors. And I'll buy the other colors. These are my go-to. I really, really like them. Now the first thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to take me a little bit of paint, and on these leaves I'm going to put a light coat of green. I'm not going to paint it a full solid green. This is a dark, kind of a dark green, and I'm going to go in here and kind of hit the sides of those leaves, hit them a little bit with this green to start with, and then I'll put my waxes over top of that. So I'm going to come in here, and right here from the outer edges of this is just to give me a tinge of leaf of a green because it's a leaf. And I got a spot there that I missed. So we go back in with a little bit of the color and hit that right there. This you will not hardly be able to see unless you're not close enough. You know, it's hard to show you this on camera for you to see this, but I'll try in a minute. I'm just kind of going from the outside in and hitting that leaf. I'll hold it up here and see if you can see that, what I've done. See this leaf right here? See, there's very little variation in the teal to this green here. I've just kind of dry brushed. I'm just kind of dry brushing a little bit of green, and I'm using a dark green, which is a Deco Arts Evergreen. Is what I'm using on that. And I'm going to just bring it up the way the leaves are, from the tip of the leaves pulling in. I just want to accent those with a little bit of green before I put the waxes on. And I'll do the acorns. The acorns are brown. I'll hit them with a little touch of brown. This just gives you a little change in color of the leaves different than the pumpkin. And if you don't like this, the good thing about using these waxes, if you put one you don't like it on, just pick you up another one and go right over top of it, because it'll change it completely. And sometimes colors in the waxes that you think won't be nothing, and you'll really like the different shades. You might put some pink in this one in places. The more color you have in there, the more variations of color, the more dimension it's going to have. So I've went all around that top now, and I've hit those leaves with that little bit of green. See, if I hold it in the light there, right there, you can see the little tinge of green I've put all around the leaves. To Walmart.com in order. See, now I'm going to clean my brush and go back in, and those acorns I'm going to put a little touch of a dark brown on them. I'm just going to use this. This one just happens to be what I picked up. It's called brown iron oxide. So it doesn't have to be any particular shade of brown or any particular shade of green. You just wouldn't want to put a real pale green. As long as you got something on the dark side, you're all right. And I'm going to hit my acorns a little bit with that brown. Just hit the tops of them. I'll probably go back in with some gold on them. I use Rub and Buff gold. See, I've only got about 2, 4, 6 acorns on there, and I just hit those with a little touch of brown on the top of them. See, now you can see that little touch of brown on the acorns. Okay, now I'm ready to start with my waxes. And I'm just going to choose some colors and put a little touch of them out here on my palette. I always go, the gold I always use Rub and Buff. So I'm going to put a little bit of gold out here, and I just put it down and smear it a little bit. Just smear it right down my palette there. So I've got a little bit of gold. This is called turquoise satin. Doesn't matter what colors you pick. Doesn't matter in the least, because you play with it. If you put some on, see that now ain't even opened yet. If you put it on and you don't like it, just go right back in over top of another one with another color. See, now that come out looking like a real mint green, and it's turquoise satin is what the tube says. So really you got to rub them on before you even know what they are. There's a little bit of copper. I'm just going to put 4 or 5 colors out here, and then I'll play with them. Little bit of copper. Here's a little bit of another shade of green. This is called green brocade. I buy most of these I bought on Etsy, because a lot of times on Etsy you can find them free shipping or 10% off if you spend so much. And okay, here's a let's see what this one is. This one's Old Denim, it's called. It's a dark blue. Got it all over my hands. And we're going to go with a little bit of a, let's see what that one is. I don't see the color on that one. Okay, this one's ash gray, because I'm going to put some down on the bottom of those ribs too, and that comes out of the tube looking like it's black. Okay, I'm just going to take my finger. I like to wrap my finger with the piece of the rag, and I'm going to start with the colors. As I change colors, I'll change my rag to a clean one. I'm going to start with the gold, and I'm going to hit those acorns with a little bit of gold, and I'm just going to hit it right on the top of them. Very light touch, putting a little bit of gold right over that brown that I put on the acorns. Got to get me a drink. Every little bit, it's like a little dab will do you. Well, every little dab you do makes a difference. Now you can see the gold on the acorns. See, I put the brown on there, and then I put the gold on them. So you can see the difference in the color that made too. Okay, now I'm going to go back in with my leaves. And let's see what this one was. Let's try this green. I think that's the green brocade. Yeah, this one's green. It says green brocade. Let's see what it looks like when we put it on the tip of the leaves. Okay, that changes them. And we don't have to do every one of these leaves exactly alike, because leaves are not alike. See, now that's the first one that I done. It's this one right here. See that one? First one. Now let's go around here and choose us another one. Put a little bit of this on another one. I'm just going to work my way around through here, hitting not every one of them, but you know, here and there with this color of the on the leaves. But I'm not doing every leaf. I'm just hitting some of them, because I'm going to put different colors on different leaves. And I usually pull from the outside edges of the leaf back in. I love these waxes. These are my favorite ones to use of all that I've got. Okay, now you can see the green on the leaves. There's brown on the gold on the acorns, the colors. Now I'm going to go right back in with another color. And this one, let's see, let me put this lid back on this before I get it messed up. Okay, this one I'm going to pick up that black and see what that black was. I got to look at them to see what colors I've got. Okay, this one is called Ash Gray. Let's hit it and see what we get with it. It looks dark on my palette. Looks like a real dark color. Let me hit this big leaf here and see. And I don't care much for that. Okay. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to pick up a little bit of copper. Pick a little bit of copper and put on some of these leaves. Yep, that's a good one. See, you just got to play with the color. If you don't like that color, you pick up another one. There's nothing that's right or wrong on these. See those two little leaves there? I put the copper on them too. I've got two right here. This one's copper, and that one's a different color up there. See? So I'm going around with the copper now. You've got a vein in there. Those leaves have a vein. You might come down that vein with a different color. Take that copper where I've put that goldish color on there and then go right down the vein with the copper color. And that would come from the inside out because the veins come out of the leaf. See, that's just about got it. So I've used 3 colors up there so far. Now, see the top of that, how pretty it is? That's gorgeous. Did you say? They are, well, I call them waxes. They are in the tube. Yeah, they're wax. It's beautiful metallic beeswax based. Turns your artwork into a real treasure. Metallic wax, they are metallic waxes, and they're on. They're made by Finnabar. If you go on Etsy, or I think Amazon has them too, but I believe they're cheaper on Etsy. If you go on there and put in Finnabar, it's Finnabair. Finnabar waxes, and they'll come up, and they're in all different colors. I've got probably close to a dozen here already. So I've got all these different colors. Here's one of Celeste. This one is Blue Velvet. This one is Sweet Rose, and I've got them in all different colors. White Pearl, White Pearl. Now I'm going to go down these and put some on the ribs here, and I'm going to put some wax on those. And I'm just going to stow the same way I did before. I'm going to start with a little bit of the copper, and I'm going to hold it this way to see what I'm doing. I'm going to go around and hit it with a little bit of copper, pull some colors down, then I'll go back in with a different color. This is kind of like dry brushing, but I'm using my finger with that wax on there, and I'm picking up very little wax when I touch into that. Very little. I'm wiping that right down into the wax and not picking up a big gob on my rag. See, now you can see how that just hits, the copper hits around through there. That's just what I'm doing. I'm just going around and hitting it. I got to put out a little bit more paint, a little bit more of the wax. See where I quit here, right here. Just rub it back and forth, up and down. I wouldn't take it across. I don't want to go this way on the pumpkin. You want to go with the way that it's made. I wouldn't go across to put any of my waxes on there. This is just putting some streaks in there to give it some dimension. Some places have a little higher spot than, more than the other. Now I've got some white pearl down here. I'm going to hit it with a little bit of that white pearl and see what that does. Okay, I've got white pearl here in wax. Let's see what we get when we hit that. Okay, let me go right here and do this real easy. Okay, that just puts me a lighter shade in there. So I'm going to go right back around again with just hitting here and there in that white pearl in the ribs. Not very much, just a touch of it in each of the ribs. And I'm rubbing it till it just kind of works down in it. Don't just set it on there and leave a streak, kind of work it in. And you can go back tomorrow and take a dry towel and just rub it really, really, really good, and it'll shine it up like a new moon. You buff it. It kind of looks like a silver going on there. I like them, I like them. I will do the same thing to the others. I'm not going to work on them with you tonight because you're seeing what I'm doing. And you just go right back around the same way I went on this other one and put your others on and choose whatever colors of waxes you want to use. Now you can use some of the other. I've got a lot of the other waxes here. And if that's what your choice is, if that's what you like, and they use them. That's, everybody likes different things. So just go in and use that's I've got all kinds of waxes here that are, I've got some that's pin art, and I've got the liquid patina. I've got paste waxes here. These are pin art stuff. It's just, this is the chameleon waxes. I've got Dixie Belle, so I've got a whole bunch of different ones too. But these just happen to be my go-to because that's just what I like. Now we could go back on this one with some of the, if you wanted to really put another different look on it, you could go back in with some of this shimmer, this shimmer glaze. I love that. It's pin art shimmer glaze. And you could just dry brush some of that on one of them. And it would put you just a shimmer, just exactly what it says. It comes in, I've got it in white and gold. So you could put either one of them on there. But now see, when I hold that back, see how those ribs have those different colors in the ribs? That I've put all the different colors in there. And no color's going to be bad. Okay? Sandy, that's what I say. Use what you have. And you're used to using what you have, and there's no sense in buying a bunch more to, to make it something different. So, what she said the brand name of the wax was Finnabair. Finnabair. Is that what we said? Okay, let me look again. I can't spell my own name half the time. Finnabair. Finnabair is the company. They're called Art Alchemy, Alchemy, metallic waxes is what they're called. And they come in these little tubes, and they last a long time, and I don't remember how much it is a tube. It's something like $5 or $6 a tube. Now see, I could take some of this dark blue here. I've got one that's like a navy blue. I could go right back up here and hit just a spot or two and put another color in there. So you really can't do anything wrong to it. You know, once you start with the waxes, you can't, you know, you'd have to really, really try, unless you set a big gob of white wax on there or a big gob of pink. But if you just hit it with your finger, just take that and touch it. You touch in that wax. That's why I put them down on my palette. See how they're smeared down on my palette? All these waxes right across here, I've got them smeared, and I don't go up in that big gob. I just get in this little smear right here, and I pick up a little bit of paint and a little bit and blend it down my thing. It's like painting. I don't take my brush and set it down in the middle of that paint and get a big glob of paint on the end of my brush. I just get a little bit at a time, and the same way with the waxes. I'm only picking up a touch, so that touch is not going to hurt when you set it on there because you don't have much of it. And if you don't like it, then just set something right over top of it. But any color, see, I put a little bit of that blue right there on that stem. So any color you want to use on it, you can use and come away with it, you know. Okay, I think Wanda's answered a lot of your questions, girls, in there. But if there's something else that you need to know, and like I said, I will use my liquid gold. I'll use this gold right here to paint. I'll paint the bottoms of these because they're such dark shades. So I'll paint the bottoms of these. And I'll use my liquid gold to paint the stems. And I will go back. See, this one is how pretty this one is. I will go back and do this one exactly the same way I did this one. I'll start with the leaves because I've got the same things on them. And I'll start with the leaves and put a little color in the leaves and play back and forth with my waxes. I may use some different, a little bit different waxes. I've even got a red wax here. I may put a little bit of red on that. Whatever your waxes are, whatever you have, then that's what you play with. And I promise you, you'll be pleased with what you've got. Instead of having to go out, you don't always have to use the same thing that I or, you know, Tom, Dick, and Harry don't have to be just exactly alike. And you may have some that you already like real well, and you know, like using them, so use them. Doesn't matter. But that is so pretty, and then when I get all the colors on it, it'll be the same as this one. It'll just have different colors on them. And then I will spray them. After I'm all done, I'll spray them with the clear acrylic spray. Now see, I'm still seeing spots on there, so you're going to have to just kind of, as you go along, just go back, and as you turn it, I'm still seeing little white spots every now and then. So set with it a while, and, you know, go back in a while before you get rid of your paints that you've mixed. Go back and check your spots in, you know, a few hours or so and see if you've got any that didn't cover. Because they will shine when you know, when you're all finished and it's sitting on your counter, that white spot will kill you. Drives you nuts. So just go back in and make sure you get all them little spots covered. Now see, this is about a $85, $95 pumpkin. That's in my shop, you know. Putting it in my shop will be about probably $89.95 on this one. This big one. But I'm still seeing spots in there, see? I just have to go back and check all them little spots. And the more you turn it up on its edges. You might even turn it up this way and look and see if you got all the bottoms covered down there. And I don't have. See, and I just nicked it. You can nick that clay. So if I've got a cool little spots right here. So you just have to keep playing with it till you get all your little nooks and crannies covered. Okay, I think I've just about got it. Okay, girls, I hope you've enjoyed what I've done tonight, and I have enjoyed having all of you here, and I appreciate all of you. Thank you, Deborah. I appreciate that. And I love them. I love doing them. And I did one more today. I got the leaves on one more this evening as I was sitting here. And when I do this one, I'll do the same thing to this one as I done to these. I just probably will accent these beads with gold, you know, make these beads as they come down through here, make them put more gold on them, the gold waxes. than I would, and I'll paint the, do the same thing on this one. And one of these I might put the beads on. If I decide to do that, then I'll just go down with a row of pearls. I'll just come from here down on the rows and maybe put a row of pearls or a row of bling on it, and I'll glue that on. Okay? Okay, girls, it's almost 8 o'clock. We've been about 2 hours. So I appreciate all of you, and I hope I see you again real soon, and I'll be back when you see me coming. That's all I can tell you. Thank you, Bonnie. I appreciate that. Thank you, girls. And, oh, you pumpkins. No, they're not any of them. They're not any of these. Are not plastic, Wanda. No, these are all resin. This one's, I believe this one's wood. I don't know. This one's hollow, so I guess it's resin too. No, all of these are resin. None of these are plastic. I've got a plastic one sitting over there, so you can do them the same way. But these are resin. All of these are. I've got a plastic one sitting over there on the shelf that I haven't done yet. So you can do the plastic ones. It doesn't matter. Okay? Okay, girls.